Never to be forgotten, this was probably one of the most shocking occurrences in F1 sports. Although the Formula 1 season is done and dusted, Carlos Sainz still found a way to surprise the FIA. The Ferrari driver is presently in Saudi Arabia to support his father, Carlos, who also drives a Ferrari, rather than to participate in any motorsports. He competes in the renowned Dakar Rally. Rallying icon Sainz Sr. is supported by his F1 star son. However, the younger Spaniard made an unintentional error that led to a probe of both of them. After a video of the incident was shared on social media, the regulating body became aware of it. In the video, Sainz Sr. is seen repairing his Audi RSQ E-Tron E2 amid the desert alongside co-pilot Lucas Cruz. He may be seen repairing the brake on his car's left rear wheel while donning his complete racing overalls and helmet. Sainz Jr. can be spotted close by supporting a vivid yellow jacket. He can be heard talking to his father on multiple occasions as they examine the vehicle thoroughly. He is eager to have the vehicle going as soon as possible, but the final scene of the video showed F1's smooth operator closing the driver's side door of the car after his father had returned. The fact that he might have violated some of those rules while doing so was enough to worry the FIA sporting representative. When allowed to argue their case, Sainz Sr. and his Audi team insisted that the F1 driver was not a member of the team and was not following their instructions. Luckily for them, the FIA agreed with that justification and declined to impose a penalty. The young Spaniard has gone home after the Dakar, possibly as a result of this event and the fact that he must get ready for a new F1 season. Carlos Sainz's 5-second time penalty, which dropped the Spaniard from 4th to 12th at the finish of the Australian Grand Prix, has been the subject of a right to review request from Ferrari to the FIA. A penalty may be reviewed by an F1 team within 14 days after the event, as per the FIA International Sporting Code. A significant novel feature that was not accessible to the parties requesting the review at the point of the decision in question must be presented during the review. After colliding with Fernando Alonso at Turn 1 following his second restart on lap 57, Sainz was given a penalty. Ferrari is anticipated to argue that Sainz was treated unfairly in comparison to Pierre Gasly, who was spared for a penalty colliding with Esteban Ocon during the second restart. Logan Sargent's collision with Nick de Vries was also not looked into, probably because of the custom that stewards are generally forgiving to first lap mishaps during restarts. The stewards stated in their official assessment document that they thought Sainz had adequate room to avoid hitting Alonso. Vasseur added that Sainz was devastated by the penalty after the race, since it prevented him from earning points in what had earlier been one of the team's most awful season beginnings. Given the confusion it caused for fans at the finish line of the race, the Ferrari team manager anticipates a fruitful conversation with the FIA concerning the application of the penalty. Stewards will occasionally look into events after a race to hear from the drivers, as they did with Ocon and Gasly. Vasseur stated that the greatest annoyance was that Sainz was not allowed to comment on the situation. The third red flag of a turbulent race on April 2nd and a one-lap restart behind a safety car was brought on by the Spanish driver's collision with Aston Martin driver Fernando Alonso on lap 1 of the final grid restart. Of the 20 starters, only 12 finished the race. Sainz claimed he was furious that the steward didn't consult with him before reaching the decision, and that he was too upset to say anything after the race had ended. Alonso criticised Sainz's punishment, finishing third for the third time in a row this season. The April 6 plea from Ferrari was enclosed in a letter from the FIA's single-seater director Nicolas Tombazis. The organisation announced on Friday. The outcome of this hearing will establish whether or not Ferrari's evidence is significant, fresh and pertinent. Stewards can then choose whether to reopen the incident inquiry and hold a new hearing. Above all, the outcome of the new hearing could mean that the punishment is maintained, altered, or completely revoked. Vettel appeared to be in place to win the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix after claiming the pole position and a comfortable lead. When Lewis Hamilton applied pressure to him, he raced wide at the Turn 3 chicane on lap 47 of 70, cutting over the grass. Vettel received a 5-second time penalty from the stewards for rejoining dangerously and squeezing Hamilton. Despite Ferrari's efforts to get the penalty reversed, Hamilton took the lead as Vettel crossed the finish line first, only 1.4 seconds ahead of him. After yellow flags after Q3, Red Bull protested Hamilton at the season opening race in Austria in 2020. He was demoted from 2nd to 5th on the grid when stewards discovered through video footage from the onboard 360-degree camera that he had crossed the yellow flags without slowing down. As a result, Max Verstappen was promoted to 2nd. However, it was later overturned after Alpine objected to Haas's protest. In another instant, Haas successfully exercised the right of review following the 2022 US Grand Prix to challenge Alonso's car after it had been damaged in an incident with Lance Stroll. Red Bull was denied access to the right of review in the middle of 2021, showing that it is not always effectively invoked. The team thought that a 10-second penalty for Hamilton following their iconic Lap 1 crash at Copse was insufficient and went out to attempt to get a longer one right after he came out on top of the race. This included fabricating new evidence as they sent Alex Albon out on the track, duplicating Hamilton's route through Copse, and attempting to establish Hamilton's guilt while ignoring the moment in 2014 when he encouraged Vettel to pass Alonso through the same corner. Naturally, the stewards rejected this fresh proof Red Bull provided, upholding Hamilton's triumph as tensions between Mercedes and Red Bull were about to blow out. The fact that the incident wasn't even reported officially may help Ferrari in its efforts to have Sainz's punishment overturned. It happened on lap 57, but due to the ensuing confusion, the race was stopped before Verstappen, the leader, reached the Sector 1 finishing line. As a result, the FIA was unable to establish a clear race order. In these situations, they go back to the moment when such an order was discovered, the one under the red flag, without including anyone involved in the incidents. In a bizarre turn of events at Melbourne, Verstappen technically began the race's last lap when he returned to the pits during the second red flag period. This rolling restart brought the field to the finish line with overtaking prohibited. By doing this, Alonso, who had dropped to last after the contact, was returned to 3rd place as if nothing had ever happened. Ferrari must contend that their driver cannot be punished for something that has been adjudged to have never occurred. The Scuderia may also take into account the fact that Logan Sargeant, who appeared to have broken the rules considerably more egregiously than Sainz did, by tagging Alonso as the Aston Martin cut back in front of the Ferrari, was not even examined for dropping Nyck de Vries at the same restart. Ferrari has chosen to take matters into their own hands though, and has asked for a review of the steward's judgment. There are two main reasons why they think the punishment was unreasonable, according to team president Fred Vasseur. First, Logan Sargeant's collision with Nyck de Vries' rear into turn 1 is not being investigated by the stewards. The second reason is that even though it occurred on the same lap, Pierre Gasly was not fined for ramming his teammate Esteban Ocon into the wall. Next week, the Executive Committee of Formula 1 will organize a meeting to discuss Ferrari's appeal to reconsider Carlos Sainz Jr.'s time penalty for the crash-marred Australian Grand Prix. After Ferrari requested a right of review to have the 5-second time penalty assessed to Sainz overturned, the FIA announced that an online session will take place. What do you think will be the final decision? We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons. Most importantly, don't forget to click the bell icons to be notified when a new video is uploaded. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you have any recommendations for videos. Have a great day everyone, and thanks once again.